What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Smithy. As always, a fun project on the docket today, but also a revealing project because for those of you who do, follow me and subscribe to me and really try and keep up with what I do, you may have noticed for a period of time there, for about 2 months, I kind of vanished, and that's for a very good reason. And I'm going to explain what that reason is, and it'll all make sense, and it all ties into this project we're doing today. So, about 2 months ago, and probably more, let's see, what is it, August? So, 3 months ago, I was at an event for the fraternity that I'm an alumni of, Lambda Chi Alpha. It was a special event with some special guests. CEO of our educational foundation, Dan Hartman, and the Grand High Alpha of the fraternity, Jeff Sturman. And unbeknownst to me at this event, an active brother talked to Dan and sold me as Lambda Chi Alpha's armor smith. I started my armor smithing journey in the fraternity house, made my first crafts and pieces of armor in my room in the fraternity house. I never had a forge in the fraternity, in my room at the fraternity house, to make sure that's clear. But that's where it all started. The fraternity likes to, use me as, they use me as an advertising point sometimes for the house, because they think it's cool. But so that's what one of the actives did with Dan. Sold me as Lambda Chi Alpha armor smith. They come up to me a little while later, it's like, hey, we'd like you to do something. After some talking, we decided Dan said that he wanted to get a gift made for Jeff. It was the end of his term as Grand High Alpha was coming up, and he wanted to get him a special going away gift. So they commissioned me to build 2 battle grade, functional medieval shields, but it be the shield from our coat of arms. And so that's where I was for about 2 months, when y'all didn't see me, no videos, nothing like that. I was working on those in secret. Now there are videos for those shields that I've put a link in the description. Those videos are now public. But so that's where I was for about 2 months building those shields, or really 1 month building those shields. I delivered them, and at the delivery a month or so ago, I was talking with Dan and other leadership of the fraternity, and they said, you could make everything from the coat of arms. And so I'm slowly working towards doing that. Today's project is to build, as the title tells you, the Lambda Chi Alpha cloak. Now, you'd look at the coat of arms and say there's no cloak on there. You're right, but I'll pop up a picture of the coat of arms right now. You can see the shield that I did, but the cloak is created off of the mantling. The mantling is that green and gold, what looks like leaf work that's kind of on top of the shield. That's called mantling, and for us it is representative of a tattered knight's cloak. I thought, that'd be something fun to create, because I'm not just copying it off of the crest, I'm actually kind of inventing it based off that. And it's something that I could do relatively quickly, cheaply, and easily. It'd be just a fun to have a tattered knight's cloak. So that's what we're doing today, is building or inventing the Lambda Chi Alpha knight's cloak. It's going to be made out of wool and linen that I've dyed. Sadly, you don't get to see me dyeing the fabric, which luckily for you isn't too much of a loss, because it's really just me coloring fabric. But we had an issue with corrupted film footage that I was not able to recover. So no longer have access to that, sadly, but luckily that's not missing much. I still have to cut, sew, put together, and create the actual cloak, so that's what we're doing today. Before I go much further, don't forget, like, subscribe, share, comment, all that fun stuff. Visit the website, all that. But I do want to make sure I give a big thanks to, first of all, Ren Campbell, because he's the active that sold me, without my knowledge, to Dan Hartman as the Lambda Chi armor smith. And also, obviously, a big thanks to Dan and everyone who's been helping me with this and putting this together. As laborious as the shields were to build, and as much work as it's been so rewarding and so awesome. I never thought I get the ability to do this. When I started the Smithy, I never would have guessed, ever would have guessed that I was doing something like this for my fraternity, for the top level leadership of my fraternity, which is so fun. So big thanks to all of y'all. And I think that's about all you need to know for now. So without any more exposition or time wasting, let's jump into getting this thing built. The rough cloak is made, the general shape, the bottom, all that's done up. So now what I need to do is, it's right now a rectangle, but your body's not really cylindrically shaped, so that doesn't work. If I finished it, if I wasn't to do anything else, it would look kind of weird and large on me up in the shoulder region. So what I have to do, and I've already done 2 of them, is I pleat it along the upper edge. I pleat it along the upper edge every few inches and slowly bring in the upper edge so that it forms around my shoulders instead of, which will eliminate all this excess right here. And then the cloak portion will be done and we can move on to the hood. I will have to attach the little clasp, but that's not but some hand sewing, but that's all I get to do now for the next few hours is hand sewing, which is not my favorite thing in the world to do, but it's really the only way of doing it right now because the wool and all these layers have gotten to be pretty thick and sewing machine's not liking trying to go through it. So a few more hours of hand sewing, hopefully, maybe just 1 or 2, and this portion will be done. Alright, after a good period of hand sewing, the cloak portion is finished. You can see that all that hand sewing was well worth it because all that extra flappy material is now contoured around my shoulders and fits nicely. If we take it off, we can see what once was a rectangle is now, let's see where that second clasp is, there it is. What once was a rectangle is now tapered at the top because of that pleating. And I installed 2, just hand sewed them on, 2 just little clasps One's kind of hidden, the other is a little more obvious, but 1, 2. 2 little clasps. Hold it in place. Very functional. Very comfy. It has actually, it's warm, but the linen on the inside is nice and soft. But now the only other thing to do is to make the hood that goes with it. So we're gonna start that. It's gonna be pretty much the same, just using a template, but shouldn't hopefully take too long. We'll hand sew it onto this, so let's jump into that. It's the final thing we have to do. Have the hood made. Now it's time to attach it, and the only way I'm gonna do that is by hand sewing. Yay, my favorite thing in the world. So let's go ahead and begin that misery, and when we're done, we'll be almost done. There'll be one more little step I have to do, and I'll wait to tell you what that is until after. So let's go ahead and get this started so that the major work can all be finished. With that final bit of sewing, the cloak is complete. I have created the Lambda Chi Alpha cloak based off the mantling in our crest, and it turned out pretty much exactly like I want to. It's not 100% perfect, but it's what I envisioned. The last piece you saw me doing there was my signature. I always sign any work I do for brothers, and so this one says from me to LXA, because the intention is that this will be displayed with the second shield I made up at headquarters. Dan, this is a gift to you. Hopefully I've figured out some way to give this to you at GA, and it was some brilliantly conceived surprise, and it didn't interfere with the schedule of the events and all that. But in any event, this is a thank you for the opportunities you've given me. I'm so grateful, and it's been so fun to do all this. I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who made this possible, Ren Campbell and everyone else again. But in any event, I hope you enjoy this. I can't wait to see it up on display at headquarters. I can't wait to make all the components of our crest to, you know, real life standards and see the entire thing up on display. But until then, I hope you can enjoy our wonderfully tattered cloak based off of the one in our crest. And just again, I gotta say a big thank you for everyone. You know, make sure to like, subscribe, share, comment, visit the website, grow the community, all that great stuff. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I did. You know, about a 2-day build. Sewing's not usually my favorite thing to do in the world, but this turned out like I wanted. I'm very pleased with it, and it's neat that I got to create something for the fraternity based off, you know, some of our oldest symbology. But in any event, thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next time.